I take this to be the purport of most of your briefs, not putting aside the last 10 pages or so. But in your view, it really wouldn't matter if there was a precipitous decline in minority admissions, African American, Hispanic, one or the other. If I think there are some numbers in this case, but suppose that it just fell through the floor. Would it just, too bad?
Well, I don't think that it's going to fall through the floor if the university is actually committed to the broader diversity it wants. Because
right, I know you think that, and there's been obviously a lot of the litigation has been about that. How much will it decline, and you're expert and they're expert. But the logic of your position suggests that that really doesn't matter. I mean, the last 10 pages of your brief where you say, has there been narrow tailoring here, it matters in that 10 pages. But it doesn't matter if you're saying there's a categorical rule, no race shall be involved in admissions decisions, then it doesn't matter if minority enrollment or particular kinds of minority enrollment fall through the floor, does it?
If the application process is open and that is a result of the criteria that the university has elected to choose, and it's not discriminatory under this court's other precedents, then that is the educational decision the university has made. I doubt any university would ever make that decision. That has not been the experience, for example, in Florida, which is race neutral, has very similar demographics to UNC, and by UNC's own admission in this record, actually achieves better racial diversity as well as 50% greater number of programs.
Right, well, that gets
campus.
us back to this question of what universities can do with what purpose to achieve racial diversity even without being explicit about racial classifications. But putting that aside, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is your brief, and this is very explicit in your brief, is like it just doesn't matter if our institutions look like America. You say this on page 11 in your reply brief. And I guess what I'm asking you is, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it? These are the pipelines to leadership in our society. It might be military leadership. It might be business leadership. It might be leadership in the law. It might be leadership in all kinds of different areas. Universities are the pipeline to that leadership. Now, if universities are not racially diverse and your rule suggests that it doesn't matter, well, then all of those institutions are not going to be racially diverse either. And I thought that part of what it meant to be an American and to believe in American pluralism is that actually our institutions, are reflective of who we are as a people in all our variety.
I think that's right. I think the reason that we think that and why that is a great American ideal is because we expect that the government is going to be open to everybody who wishes to apply, and that because merit and your worth as a person and your value as a contributory citizen is not correlated with your skin color. And so naturally, a government that treats people fairly and that makes opportunity open to all will necessarily see racial diversity.
But Mr.
And indeed, that's been the experience.
You said, and
before.
I think you're right to say this, you said to one of my colleagues' questions, if this didn't matter, they're spending an awful lot of time and money and anxiety doing something that doesn't matter. So let's presume it does matter. Let's presume it does matter that these programs have been understood to be necessary to ensure that these institutions have a certain level of racial diversity. And I concede what Justice Gorsuch says, that racial diversity and quotas, it's a little bit mysterious, but have a certain level of racial diversity that will enable them to get the benefits of all our many different peoples, and that enables American society generally to do the same.
Well, because I think one of the problems with Grutter is that it suggests that this is somehow costless, that if it's one factor among many and we can't identify, exactly how many points race is getting, although obviously statistical analysis does allow us to do that at some point, Grutter says it's not that big of a deal. It's always a plus factor and never a negative. But this is a zero-sum game. That is one of the problems with Grutter, is it suggests that the harm of racial classifications, which this court have always recognized are inherent and invidious of themselves, can be hidden or pushed down as long as race is just one of many factors.